To Be Hero X, episode 15, Affective Disorder. What is it? Let's talk about it. So, in this episode of To Be Hero X, it is episode 15, Affective Disorder, and we are talking about a very particular character. We're focusing on Ghostblade, who we saw at the end of the last episode kind of come in to help deal with the shindig situation. He was the one who was on call with the director that Yinmo that was unable to get a hold of him. So yeah, it is. So what we have here is year 22 when we have the assassination of Shang, which is the 175th target of Ghostblade. Um, his main concern, of course, is once he finishes, his assassination, he goes into this kind of like the little calm mode where it's like the silence after death is where he feels most relaxed. Everything's quiet. There's nothing there. Again, there's no more screaming, hollering, pleading, nothing. Like he just, I guess, feels more at peace. We find out that he kind of came up from a very loud background. He was part of a family of butchers, very arrogant, very loud, very chaotic. You see the flashback. There's like several people. There's like at least 20 people in that one scene, and it's like one room, and they're all walking around, screaming, yelling, loud chopping, all this kind of stuff. And he's not feeling it. And uh, in the process, he ends up speaking about how they did their butcher work and how it should be more of a, I guess, precision kind of thing as opposed to being, just hacking and slashing everything. Like they're not, I guess, especially skilled with a blade. They're just chopping up meat and calling it a day. At that point, he decided that as heroes were kind of being a thing, he wanted to become a hero. He wanted to be a deadly assassin. That's what he wanted to be. Uh, he talks about how calming and his lack of care or empathy for these beasts, these pigs, whatever that they had to go to the chopping block. um he could care less for their pain, anything. He just wanted the silence, and he would do things. Silence is one of the things that he learned was to touch and basically touch on the head and to relax and calm them, which sends the endorphins, which sends the stuff to kind of help relieve pain, all the dopamine, everything. And it was easier to basically calm them, quiet them, and then finish whatever his task is. Um, so yeah, he's definitely affected by a lot of his, surroundings of everything being loud, so that he wanted things to calm down. And this was, I guess, his way of attaining peace. At year 19, that's when FOMO came out, and his trust value went up mostly because he became a laughing stock. A lot of people were laughing at him, and they were just annoyed by Ghostblade as a character, just on the internet. Like he was not anybody that was notable in terms of like popularity for like something cool or awesome is because he was just a laughing stock. Like people just made fun of him, and he's just minding his own business. He's at the restaurant, he's eating, or he's cutting up stuff, whatever. But this kept increasing his value, his trust value. Uh, but as his skills with the blade became better, because his trust value rose, it became increasingly harder for him to talk. And that's one of the key points about him. He doesn't say anything, he keeps quiet. And he ends up getting offered a job around year 20. And that's when he left to become an assassin. Um, and we find out a bit about him as an assassin. Like he never researched targets, he just knew they were wrong. If you were jealous, you did something, you were wrong. If you were hurting somebody, you did wrong. If you, were having an affair, you're doing something wrong. Like whatever it is you're wrong, he didn't care. He would just go and accomplish his task and go on about his business. Now, while he was actually out on assignment taking care of business, he ended up running into somebody named Zhang Long, and this person was taken hostage by one of the people that he was chasing. And she was so engulfed in her phone, like I'm talking about in that thing, would not get out of her phone at all. Like it was a huge, huge problem. Like how is anyone supposed to function that way? But to him, it was peaceful. She never flinched, she never did anything. So while the guy took her hostage, he was able to quickly throw a blade and dispatch the guy, and she's still in her phone, and she just walks off like it's nothing. And he's just staring at her. It's like that point he kind of fell in love with her. They proceeded to go to date and to go out to dinner. Like he cut up their food and stuff and shared everything. She stayed in her phone. When they're sitting there going to the movies or whatever case may be, she's on her phone. When they finally decided to get together and get married, she was on her phone. And it's like that's how they communicate. So here's the thing, that's how they communicated because he couldn't speak. So most likely they would talk through text anyway. And she didn't like to talk. She just texted. Did she have the ability to talk? Yeah, she did. She just didn't use it. And it was up until the point to where, with everything being quiet, they finally end up going to the hospital because she had a bout with anemia, and they found out that she's pregnant. And this is the first time he's ever seen her put down her phone. I was like, did she go to sleep with this thing? And she was like, what? First time you ever seen her put it down. So with that being said, things needed to change, and this is where we get into Nono, who we saw as as the friend of Lolly from one of the previous episodes. So Ghostblade and his wife speak about change, and they're having a conversation. We find out that basically they're pregnant, and Nono is his daughter. All right, she wants him, and again, this is the wife. She wants him to let go of his persona, move together with parents because they're getting older, and just have a family. He immediately goes into like a hard sweat, panic attack. He has been so used to finally having things quiet, and to go back to that chaos is like he started having flashbacks. He was just like, no, I can't do this. Like he's losing his mind. Again, he can't say anything. So he's just like he's having an internal struggle. And she says that this is how I wanted to be. And she barely gives him time to answer. Like he's still trying to process this. And without even waiting to get a response, she's like, yeah, I'm leaving and I'm taking our daughter, and you're enjoy your silence. That's it. I'm like, dang, she ain't give this man a day to let him process it. Nothing. Just I'm out. I'm done. It's like once she heard she was pregnant, it was easy for her to drop her phone and focus on being a mother, I guess, or whatever it is that she needed to focus on. Cool, commendable. I respect it. Freaking, but him, he's thinking more logically in terms of this is how I got to where I am, so that with things being peaceful, I can't go back to that chaos. Like everything kind of has a sense of order to him. Um, so he's trying to figure out how, but again, she doesn't give him the opportunity to, so he goes sideways. But either way, we find out that Ghostblade has been watching his daughter from afar. So he's the creepy stalker that we keep seeing Nono and Lolly having to deal with. Like, oh, it's him. He's not trying to stalk her to, you know, stalk her to do that. He's stalking her to, see his daughter. Like he wants to see her as close as he can ever get to her. And we see that throughout her life, he's been around. He's been, looking at her from, rooftops, whatever, swimming in the pool, whatever the case may be. He's just trying to every part of his daughter's life. He's trying to be, privy to that information. Within reason. Okay, not creeper mode type, but just like, hey, I want to see my daughter. She walked off, and we find out later on that the mother has still had contact with Ghostblade, but has just completely kind of disregarded him as far as being part of her life. He tried to buy her a stuffed bunny, but she's 18 now, and she's like, "You really think a stuffed bunny? Like you don't even know her anymore. You know nothing about her. You don't know her life. You don't know what she likes, what she dislikes, whatever the case would be." And it's just like, dang, that hit hard for him. He's just trying to be the dad and do something nice for his daughter, but the mother has completely shut it down. It's just like, damn, like I feel his pain. So with that being said, he decides to immerse himself in her life to the point of learning what she likes, what she doesn't like, and experiencing these things. like taking it a step further to make sure that he understands what she's going through. So trying her favorite flavors of ice cream, trying, finding out why she likes, why she does it, music, fashion, whatever. He's just going through the whole thing, and he's noticed how much she's changed from what she used to be versus what she is now, based off his, her meeting with Loli. Ever since she met her whole demeanor has changed from being the, I guess, more or less good girl to kind of, I won't say lashing out, but kind of being more free, more open, a little bit more rebellious, I guess, in her demeanor. Because again, she never confronted her stalker um, beforehand, but now that Loli is there, she is a lot more braver about it and all that kind of stuff. So she's willing to, you know, say something now. So during that, and Ghostblade was trying to speak throughout all this, but he just could not find the words, could not find the sounds to make it happen. So again, this is the only way he had to kind of express himself. Now, we've also found out that when Yenmo called Ghostblade, we know that it was the daughter that he was on the phone with, that phone call where he was breathing. That was him on the phone with her, and he couldn't answer the other line when Yenmo called because he was on the phone with her. So we find out that all this comes to pass. We find out that Ghostblade the was agreed to be on the team, the research team for Dr. Liu Tang, to go investigate the crash site about the fear stuff. Because they're trying to figure out how to control fear and what the fear particles will do. So now it's like, okay, well, what's going to happen with that? And we also see that there's somebody in the tank while they're talking and they're doing kind of research, and it's like, all right, well, what's going on here? There's some issues. So that sums up pretty much this episode. Like it's solid. We're getting more information on Ghostblade and what he's about and how he got his rise to hero status, but more or less that Nono is his daughter and he's just been trying to be part of her life, and he doesn't have a way to tell her outside of maybe writing a letter. But it might doesn't want him present in life at all. So how are you supposed to how are you supposed to deal with that? I don't know. It's difficult for him, so I want to see how he resolves it. What's going to happen? Make sure you stay tuned. Hit that lovely red subscribe button. I'm going to keep covering the show each and every week, every chance that we get to talk about all the anime again this hot anime summer. There is so much stuff going on, so we'd love to hear from you down in the comments below. What you think about this episode? What do you think is going to happen next? Which characters you're interested in hearing about, seeing about? You know, hey, we're just in it to win it, right? So until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.